There are 7 mistakes that nurses commonly make when checking your blood pressure, and I'm going to give you 7 solutions. Number 1, they're rushing you into the room and then taking your blood pressure immediately. This is a common problem and it happens almost all the time. To be fair, there is a justification for this. And not that I'm justifying that this is the right thing to do, but they may have numerous patients waiting. They're trying to get you in the room, figure out what your chief complaint is, do all the vitals, and then get out and go to the next room to do the same thing so the doctor can eventually come in. They're rushed. They're overworked. Nurses have a very difficult job. And when they go into the room, they don't have a whole lot of time to get this job done. And they're rushed, and they're stressed, and they're busy. And this is the reason why this occurs. Unfortunately, this leads to improper blood pressure technique, and thus the blood pressure numbers will be higher than they really should be. They record those numbers down, and now you think you have hypertension. So what's the solution? Ask permission to relax before they check the blood pressure. You can say to them, hey, can you go into another room, check someone else's blood pressure, do their vitals, and then come back so I can have 5 minutes of relaxation so we can get an accurate measurement. If you ask them nicely, they'll be out of the room so fast. So then when they come back, you can do your deep breathing, you can relax a little bit, and they will get a more accurate blood pressure number. The second mistake, which is they may be talking to you, kind of double tasking, because most nurses are experts at double, triple, quadruple tasking. So they're checking your blood pressure, then they're asking you questions about your chief complaint, and they're doing the depression screening all at the same time. So they're checking blood pressure, but they're really not doing it as super accurate as they should be because they're talking to you, having you converse, and that can raise your blood pressure. So what's the solution? Ask that they not talk to you while the blood pressure is being taken. Number 3, the blood pressure cuff is too tight. Very often what they'll do is they will put this thing on, get it to around here and just tug it over, and now it's too tight. But if they do it like this, you should be able, and this is the solution, make sure you can get 2 fingers under here. Now, right now, I can hardly get my fingers underneath there. I can just get the tips of my fingers. So you see how that works? I can't do that. So if you do it properly with a little bit of give to it to start, then what will happen is I can get my fingers in the blood pressure cuff, and that way it won't cause as much pain when they start pumping it up, and therefore you'll get a more accurate blood pressure reading. The fourth mistake is a dangling arm, not having your feet flat on the floor, or crossing your legs. These are technical problems. Sometimes the way the office is organized, they will have you sitting on the big table so your legs are dangling, you don't have a back support, your legs are crossed. These are all things that can skew the results of your blood pressure test and show abnormally high blood pressure. What is the solution to this? There is usually a chair. Ask if it's okay if they check your blood pressure while you're seated in the chair rather than on the exam table. Number 5, they take one measurement, write it down, and they're done. This is very often not the most accurate number. If they take one blood pressure measurement and start recording it, and it doesn't seem like it's your normal blood pressure, what you see at home, then ask the nurse if it's okay if they retake the blood pressure. Now, when you do this, and this is very important, before they check the blood pressure again, make sure and put your arm up into the air so that this part of your arm is at about heart level and your fist is higher, and pump the fist about 10 to 15 times, because a blood pressure cuff, what it does is it cuts off the circulation to the arm as well as the circulation going back this way. And so sometimes people will feel like a swelling in here, so blood pools where it should be coming back. So when you have your blood pressure taken the first time, pump the arm for about 10-15 repetitions before they retake it, and you'll get a more accurate blood pressure number. Number 6 is kind of stupid, but a lot of times you go into the doctor's office like this, and they'll just take this blood pressure cuff and just put it over your clothing. And sometimes you'll have 2 or 3 layers of clothing. A lot of times they're like, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it. Yes, it does. The solution to this, if the nurse starts putting the blood pressure cuff over your clothing, make sure and pull up your clothing and wear loose clothing if you're going to go to the doctor, and that way they'll do it directly over the skin. The 7th and final mistake that nurses make when checking your blood pressure is to use the wrong size cuff. Now let me show you this cuff. This cuff actually has something right there that tells you the size of the cuff. If your measurements are not within this number, then this is the wrong size cuff. If you have fatty arms, if you're obese, or if you're extremely thin, you're gonna get skewed numbers. The important thing is if the blood pressure cuff is too small, then the numbers are gonna be higher, and thus you're gonna be labeled as hypertensive when you may in fact not be. Almost all of these cuffs have other things that are important. Notice what it says here. That if this part comes to here, you notice it says there, hey, silly Willy, choose a different cuff. So the solution to this problem, know your measurements, look at the cuff they're using, and if you have larger arms, use the proper size cuff, which most doctors have in their office. If you have specific questions in regard to blood pressure, your own health and wellness, we actually do Zoom appointments as well as telephone appointments. We do these Zoom and telephone appointments from all around the world. So you're more than welcome to call our office, schedule an actual Zoom or a telephone consultation with me. And what we're gonna do is we are going to section off a piece of our day just to speak to you and answer all your questions. So if you're interested in that, there's a link down below. You can get to my website and then just contact us. Now there is a fee for a Zoom or telephone consultation, so it's not free, but I can promise you this, you're gonna get your money's worth.